Hi guys, hope you're all doing alright. In this video I'm going to be going through my cover of Time from Inception. Someone asked me about this the other day if I could possibly do a walkthrough on it, which I was obviously more than up for doing. However, I haven't got the original session from when I first covered it maybe 7 or 8 years ago because my setup's changed since then. However, what I have got is obviously the original master from that version that I did back then. So what I was going to do is, we could maybe deconstruct some of those parts. And then I also thought maybe it'd be cool to try and recreate, obviously, the big parts at the end. So I've already started in this session. I've done some bass and some drum programming and a little bit of the brass and the string sections as well. Just so you don't get completely bored watching me drag MIDI nodes everywhere on a screen. So with those parts already done, I thought it'd be pretty cool to just have a listen to the original in some parts and talk about what I used back then. And then also I was going to track some guitar parts live, obviously, in this video, so you can hear how it all builds up layer by layer, and just really to just give you an insight into the process when I do these Hans Zimmer covers from start to finish. So yeah, hopefully it's something you enjoy. But yeah, we'll start off by listening to the original from when the guitar part kicks in. Actually, let's take a quick listen. So that's pretty cool. I was pretty happy with how that turned out at the time. I mean, listening back to it now, I'm not happy with that mix, but obviously I did it at a point where my ears weren't as used to what I do now. I'm not saying by any means I know what I'm doing now. I'm certainly not perfect, but I feel more confident in the judgments that I make when I'm mixing or when I'm composing. For example, I just trust my judgment a lot more now than what I did back then. So this one that we've just listened to, so that has got parts of the original cover I did back in 7 or 8 years ago. But obviously when we did the video version, 3 years ago now, that had the original bass and drums and all the orchestral parts, but I retracked a lot of the guitar specifically for that video. So yeah. What we'll do is now, obviously, as you can see here, I've programmed some parts ready for this video. So we've got obviously something to lay the guitars against. And obviously, like I've mentioned earlier, so you don't get bored just watching me drag and drop MIDI nodes all over a screen, because that's pretty boring. Although they sound great in the end, it's boring to watch. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll just listen to these drums and bass part so you can hear what's going on, and there's absolutely nothing going on, and then I'll pick up the guitar and we'll start laying some layers down. So yeah, nothing there right now, but we'll start that with adding some guitar layers on, and we'll start with one right now. So yeah, let's get going with the guitar parts. Just for those of you wondering as well, from a technical point of view, I'm listening to this guitar part live so that obviously I can play it in time with what's coming back to me, but also so you guys can hear that as well, live and in time. But what I'll have to do is once it's in Logic, I'll have to slip it back so it's in time when you guys get to hear all the tracks going at once I've recorded the layers, so I hope that's okay. So yeah, that one's come out pretty well. What I'm going to do now is as well, just thinking on to what I did in the past version of this. That part that I've just played was obviously with a clean patch. What I'm going to do now is play that exact same part, but I'm going to use it with a distortion patch, obviously straight out of the Axe Effects, just to double that up. Just basic layering really. So yeah, we'll go for that take and we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's come out pretty clean, quite happy with that. What we'll go for now is what I think is the staple of the original track, which is the guitar part that obviously Johnny Marr played in. Really kind of nice, simple, but clean melody, so we'll go for that now and see how that comes out. That one was much better. I mean, I appreciate to a lot of people that part might have sounded exactly the same, but the reverb was a little bit shorter on that one, and there was just kind of more pre-delay, so you could hear more of the dry signal. And that, I won't go into too much technical stuff like that, but that one was definitely much better that time. So we'll roll with that. Moving on to another part now. We'll move on to a more distorted part, which I do remember doing on the first version cover, I should say, that I did. So we'll go for that right now. We'll see how that one comes out. For anybody interested in specifics on these guitar tones that I'm using, this is basically just a normal distortion patch with with quite a large reverb on it, a bit of delay as well. And specifically for this part that I'm about to play in, I'm using the neck pickup on the guitar, which is split down to a single coil as well, so it's just got a little bit more bite in this particular part that I'm doing. So let's just see if this is the right one. Yeah, this is the right one. Let's give this a go, see what happens. So we'll jump straight into another lead part now. This is something where the patch out of the Act-Effects is just the distortion. I'm actually using a separate cab impulse in Logic, which I use own hammer impulses for all my cabs. And then I'm not using the reverb straight out of the Act-Effects on this one. I'm using the Valhalla Supermassive, which for anybody interested in free reverbs / delays, if you haven't got this already, pick this up because it's absolutely amazing. There's so many different kind of sounds you can get out of it and just create all these different weird textures, and it pretty much goes with everything. It works fantastic on guitars, but it's great for certain vocal effects as well. Loads of different stuff. It works very well on a lot of different kind of synth sounds and pads and stuff like that. It's fantastic. Definitely go and check that out. So this is already on the patch. I've got this set up already. So yeah, let's go for a take on this next part and see how that comes out. So yeah, that's another part that was a lot of tremolo picking, slightly less notes than the one that I've just done previous to that, but another kind of really important part that I think really kind of helps make it what it is and just helps it just become really big and impactful. So what we'll do is, for now, just so we can have a listen to what I've tracked so far and how this is making difference, I'm just going to drag these parts back into time, obviously to compensate for the latency between the video and the audio while I'm recording, and then we'll go from there. I've just made sure there's none of the picks on the guitar where I was just making sure I was in time. I've cut all that out now, so when you hear this play in a second, there isn't going to be any noise, but this is all the takes, unedited. They're slightly balanced as well, so you're not just getting absolutely loads of guitars and not in here anything else. So yeah, let's take a quick listen to what we've got so far. Okay, so that's pretty cool. What we'll do is now, before I do any more lead parts, on this part where everything kicks in, there are some rhythm guitars which I did on the original, so I'll obviously try and add them back in now. I'll grab the guitar again, we'll track those parts. For anybody wondering who's kind of just starting out in recording, anybody who does it already, you'll kind of pretty much know this already. But whenever you do rhythm guitars or any guitars in general, to be honest, when you obviously want to be able to space them out really wide in the mix, is double tracking them. So you can't get, obviously, for those that already know, you can't just get away with playing it in once and copying it and pasting it and it taking it out left and right. It doesn't work like that. For it to work properly, you need to actually play in whatever the part is twice, or if you're doing it, if you're quad tracking, then you do it 4 times. Doing it that way beats any effect that you could put in to kind of try and trick time or trick someone's ears. Actually playing it in 2 or 4 times or 8 times, whatever kind of part you're going for, will always work best. So with that said, let's grab the guitar and we'll get on with the rhythm parts. And now what I've just done will basically repeat on the other side, so bear with me. So that's the rhythm guitar parts in now. I'll just drag those back into time before we listen to them, and then we'll go from there. Cool. Full mix. Okay, so what we'll do is now is another lead part, which this was not obviously done originally on guitar, it's following the string part. This is the part that goes like this. So yeah, very simple, but man, it makes such a difference when this part's tracked. So yeah, let's give this a go. So pretty happy with how that part's sounding now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that same part again, but I'm going to do it a couple of octaves up, so higher up on the guitar, and basically just make it sound a lot bigger. So let's give that a shot now. Click track on. Okay, cool. So that's come out pretty decent. Let's listen to those two parts together now. Actually, the two octaves, just so you can hear the impact that they're having. Obviously, after I've lined this back up in time as well. Sweet, let's listen to them together in the mix now as well. So that's sounding pretty decent, but I think I'm going to do an octave part on, let's have just double check which part it was. I think it's this part now. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that same part again, but I'm going to do that a couple of octaves up as well, just to get that to stand out a little bit more. So let's jump right in here. Okay, I think that's done. That's gone in okay. Let's give that a whirl with the other part and see what they sound like together. After they're lined up, of course. Nice. Let's listen to them together in the mix as well then now. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with where that's at now. I think that's sounding pretty close to where my first version of the cover was. Obviously, I'm a little bit happier with where this is at in terms of the mix. I'm happy with the tones that I've got and the way the mix is sounding overall, even though this isn't finished as such. Yes, I've got some stuff going on the drums and the bass and some mixed bus stuff happening, but this isn't anywhere near finished. So yeah, let's take a listen to the whole big section as one thing. Now we'll go from where it first kicks in right through to the end, and let's see what happens. yeah, pretty happy with how that is. I think what I'm going to do as well is the main part of the melody, which is not obviously the part that Johnny Marr plays. The melody that's going da 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 da. I'm going to what I'll do is I'm going to double track that part left and right, but I'm going to do that dry. I'm not going to put any reverb on there. So I'll duplicate a couple of tracks now to play that in, and we'll get that track down, see what that comes out like. Okay, cool. Now we've done it for that side, we're going to jump straight over to the right and track the exact same part again. Okay, so they're sounding pretty cool now. Let's just line them up for the purposes of listening back, and then we'll see what it's sounding like in a full mix. Okay, so that's sounding pretty wicked now. They're just kind of bringing it together a little bit more, and it's just all these subtle things. I know it might seem like it's been a little bit repetitive, but doubling up those things in this way and just kind of adding an octave here and there and doing these things, it's all part of it. You don't need to kind of have loads of different things doing loads of different things. Sometimes you just need to layer up on what's already there and blend it in until that part is hitting where you want it to hit hard. So yeah, really happy with how that's come out. I probably could add a few more layers and things like that, but I don't want to take up all of your time. What I will just show you as well, if you're interested to hear it, I will just solo the orchestra sections that I've programmed, so you can just kind of listen to what they're doing on their own as well. Yeah, super happy with how that came out. That really is largely thanks down to that new sample library from Audio Imperia, I think they're called. Obviously, yeah, the library's called Nucleus, and it's really changed the way that I do these Hans Zimmer covers now massively, and definitely for the better. So yeah, I think that's going to pretty much round it up, unless obviously you want to sit and watch me track even more guitars on this. But I think that's pretty much where it was at with the original version that I did, the original cover that I did, I should say. So I hope that's obviously giving you some insight into how I achieve these covers that I do, and you can hopefully see how they take such a long time to do. Obviously, there's not an awful lot going on here, but kind of from figuring out the timings and that, and kind of what each part is doing, I don't look at any sheet music. there's no kind of, well, as far as I'm aware, there's no isolated stems of any of the tracks that Hans Zimmer has done. So everything that I do, I listen to the original track and figure it all out by ear for as long as that takes. And obviously with that, that means that not every part is absolutely correct. Sometimes I might not be hitting everything that's in the original. Sometimes I might be doing more than what's in the original. But I rely completely on these to kind of get me to that end result. Not just from a point of view of trying to get the right sounds, but trying to do some level of justice to the original track. Because first and foremost, I love, you know, the pieces of music that he writes, and the films that go with them as well. You know, that kind of brings the emotion to whatever the images on the screen. So it's really is kind of a pleasure just to spend time doing them and getting them together. And I'm really happy with how they come out, and the fact that you guys enjoy them and say they're really nice things that you do about them means absolutely everything to me. So I will definitely keep doing them. Again, as I've kind of mentioned in videos before, I apologize that they're kind of quite spread apart. You know, there's not one every month, and there's definitely not one every week like some YouTubers manage to get out, but they take a lot of time to do on top of everything else that I've got going on. But you know, with that being said, I do absolutely love doing them, and I will definitely be continuing to do them. So if you're interested in seeing any more of the covers that I've done broken down in this way, and you just kind of want to see, you know, how I've programmed certain parts, or how all the different guitar layers are working together, then let me know down in the comment section, and I'll be happy to try and put something together for those. Obviously, some of the ones that I've done a few years ago will be the same situation as this one. I might not have the original session, or I might be using different sample libraries, for example, to what I used back then. But you know, if you've enjoyed seeing it be reconstructed in this way, with some new libraries, and actually seeing me build it from the ground up in a specific section, then I'd be quite happy to do that. Obviously, this is the first time I've done anything like this, where I've actually tried, recording parts whilst on video. So that's definitely been a learning curve for me. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you've made it to this far into the video, I appreciate you being here. And above everything else, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope there's maybe something you can take away from this. So yeah, thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.